So I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron.
So I didn't think players really feared LeBron like they did Jordan.
Let's be honest for a second. We've all seen the rankings, the debates, and the endless arguments about the greatest of all time. But have you noticed something interesting? Shaq's Mount Rushmore conversations always seem to leave one name out. And that's not random. For years, Shaquille O'Neal has been dropping subtle hints. He's thrown comments here and there. He's questioned the narrative. And recently, he finally said what many people thought but didn't say out loud. According to Shaq, there's a reason the king doesn't sit at the grown-ups table, and once you hear his argument, it's hard to ignore.
You were oozing joy before the game. Cameras caught you dancing. Where did that joy come from tonight?
That's always me. I don't know. I mean, I'm a goofy ass 41-year-old kid. I mean, I think people should know that by now, right? I think that's, yeah, that's just me. I'm just a goofy. I get to play basketball. Like, they pay me to play basketball. Like, why wouldn't I be happy about that? I get to be with my son and my teammates and people, all these unbelievable fans. They've watched me throughout my career and they give me all the support and love. And it's like I enjoyed my, is it work? It's not even, I enjoy what I do. So have fun. You see me on the court, see me in the back. I just love what I do. So it's pretty cool.
Before getting into the drama, let's ask the real question. Did LeBron James truly earn the crown, or did the media build the crown for him based on longevity and consistency? When players from previous eras talk about legends like Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, they describe fear. They describe intensity. They describe psychological pressure. But rarely do you hear opponents say they were afraid of facing LeBron. That's the core of Shaq's argument. The old NBA felt like a battlefield. Today's league feels different. Critics argue that modern basketball is softer, more entertainment-driven, and less about intimidation. And for Shaq, that shift matters. But that still isn't what pushed him over the edge.
So I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Mike. I've heard players in your generation say they feared Kobe. I've never really heard any players say they fear LeBron.
So I didn't think players really feared LeBron like they did Jordan.
I never heard anybody say it.
And it's not that you shouldn't fear Bron. I just think at the end of the day, Bron has been through so much that he wanted to be liked. So it was kind of like,
and he is a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Very
things
nice.
now where like people like me, people respect. I mean, you're always gonna respect what he did, but you actually like Bron and want to be a fan of Bron now. So I think that's what that was.
Shaquille O'Neal has held back for years, but eventually, he hit his limit. From industry culture shifts to fashion trends to what he sees as a lack of respect toward the pioneers who built the league, Shaq believes something fundamental has changed. To him, the NBA used to be built on dominance and psychological warfare. Now, he feels it leans more toward personality and branding. Think about it. When a team is fighting for playoff survival, critics expect leadership energy. Instead, moments of humor, self-description, and entertainment sometimes dominate headlines. For Shaq, greatness isn't about being liked. It's about being feared. And in his view, true kings command the room without trying to entertain it. Look at pre-game mentality. In past eras, preparation looked intense. Players locked in, focused, silent. The aura mattered. Shaq often points out that legends like Jordan and Kobe carried a visible edge, an expression that said the game was business. That presence created psychological pressure before the tip-off even happened. Today, social media moments, viral clips, and lighthearted pre-game routines are part of the culture. Supporters call it personality and connection. Critics call it distraction. Shaq's stance is simple: greatness requires dominance, not just popularity. In his eyes, you can't call yourself the king if everyone in the league sees you as a friend first and a rival second. And it doesn't stop there. Even some former opponents from past eras have hinted that the intimidation factor wasn't the same. The Celtics teams of earlier years, for example, approached competition with a different level of edge and physicality. For Shaq, this isn't about disrespect. It's about standards. He believes every generation faces challenges, but greatness must include dominance, fear, and undeniable control of the game. That's why this debate continues, not because of statistics, but because of legacy, mentality, and aura. And whether you agree with Shaq or not, one thing is certain. This conversation isn't going away anytime soon.
You feel like you can break LeBron at this point?
We broke LeBron.
In Game 5.
So get your ass out of here with that, all right? You understand how you got to Cleveland, how you got to Miami, Bill? We didn't give a fuck about LeBron. We didn't fear LeBron, and we didn't think that he can beat all 5 of us. If you had D-Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron over in this corner, you had me, T.A., I'm just making these names up, maybe Paul and Rondo right here.
Yeah.
It'll be a what's up, and it'll be cool and respect, but it won't be any like fraternizing. It ain't gonna be like, yo, I'm the family. It won't be none of that. No, it's real. They don't fuck with us.
Forever, huh?
We don't fuck with them.
Now, compare that to the stories that defined the Jordan era. There are countless accounts from former players who describe stepping onto the court already mentally drained because Michael Jordan was on the other side. Not because of hype. Not because of social media. But because of presence. His reputation followed him into every arena. When he walked in, the atmosphere changed. The intensity went up. The pressure was real. That's what Shaq often refers to when he talks about dominance. In his view, greatness isn't just about numbers, it's about psychological impact. It's about making opponents feel like the game is already slipping away before the tip-off. Shaq's own approach to basketball was simple and direct. Dominate the paint. Control the tempo. Break the rim if necessary. Set the tone physically and mentally. No distractions. No unnecessary performances. Just power, focus, and results. For him, the NBA used to feel like a war zone, competitive, physical, and unforgiving. Today, critics argue the game emphasizes spacing, offense, and entertainment more than intimidation and defensive pressure. Supporters say it's evolution. Detractors say it's softness. That disagreement sits at the center of the debate. But even that wasn't the exact moment Shaq's perspective hardened. Many point to 2016 as the symbolic turning point in this generational conversation. After the historic finals comeback, LeBron delivered a confident message to the world about his place in basketball history. To fans, it was leadership. To critics, it felt like self-declaration. In older eras, greatness was proven repeatedly before it was claimed publicly. Players didn't announce themselves as the best, the league did that for them after years of undeniable dominance. Jordan didn't need to campaign for recognition. His championships spoke. Kobe didn't need speeches to validate his mentality, his work ethic and competitive edge were visible every night. Shaq didn't rely on narrative. Momentum, his physical dominance during his peak forced the league to adjust. The debate becomes more intense when statistics enter the discussion. LeBron's supporters highlight longevity, over 2 decades of elite performance, all-time scoring records, versatility across multiple eras, and adaptability in different systems. That consistency is rare in professional sports. Critics counter with peak dominance arguments. They point to scoring titles, MVP awards, and championship runs that came during shorter but extremely intense periods of control. Jordan's era is often remembered for undefeated finals appearances. Shaq's prime is remembered as one of the most unstoppable stretches for any big man in league history. The argument isn't about talent. Everyone agrees LeBron is one of the greatest players ever. The disagreement is about ranking and definition. Another major theme in the debate is team building. Some see player movement as strategic adaptation in a modern era where athletes have more control over their careers. Others believe that constantly forming super teams changes the competitive balance and reduces the challenge of building from within. Shaq has consistently expressed admiration for players who dominate while staying committed to one core identity and proving themselves under consistent pressure. From his perspective, legacy carries more weight when it's built through sustained dominance with minimal external restructuring. That perspective also influences his personal all-time lineup choices in interviews, where he has selected players he feels better represent his standard of peak-era competitiveness. At the heart of this discussion lies a bigger philosophical question. Is greatness measured by endurance and accumulated records? Or by peak performance and psychological dominance during the toughest moments? There is no simple answer. Different generations experience different rules, physicality levels, and playing styles. Rule changes, pace adjustments, and modern sports science have all influenced how careers unfold today compared to the 1980s and 1990s. That's why these debates continue to trend across podcasts, sports shows, and social media platforms. Fans love comparing eras. They love defending their favorites. They love debating legacy. Shaq's stance comes from his belief in old-school competitiveness, toughness, intimidation, and championship mentality. LeBron's case is built on longevity, versatility, leadership, and sustained excellence over an unprecedented number of seasons. Both arguments rely on different definitions of greatness. And that's why this conversation will likely never end. Because in the world of basketball, legacy isn't just written in statistics, it's written in perception, era context, and personal standards. As long as fans value comparison, the debate will live on.